Transmission rebuild or replacement? When really is your transmission worth saving and when it's not? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So when your transmission starts slipping, hesitating between gears, shuddering at highway speed, or refusing to move when you press the accelerator, the first thing you usually hear is this: you're going to need a new transmission. And in that moment, your mind immediately jumps to $4,000, maybe $5,000, maybe even more, because transmission replacement has a reputation for being one of the most expensive repairs on any vehicle. But here's the truth that most drivers never get explained clearly. Not every failing transmission needs to be replaced, and just as important, not every transmission is worth rebuilding. Two vehicles can show almost identical symptoms, feel almost identical on the road, and yet the financially smart decision for one could be completely wrong for the other. The difference comes down to understanding what failed, how far the damage has spread, what type of transmission you're dealing with, and whether you're looking at friction wear or structural destruction inside the unit. Before you even think about rebuild versus replacement, you need clarity on what actually failed. A transmission doesn't simply go bad in a single event. Something inside it failed first, and that initial failure sets off a chain reaction. In a traditional automatic transmission, that could be worn clutch packs, a failing torque converter clutch, valve body wear, pressure control solenoids that can no longer regulate hydraulic flow properly, or internal seals that have hardened from heat. In a CVT, the problem might be belt slip, pulley surface scoring, fluid breakdown, pressure instability, or torque converter clutch glazing if the unit uses one. These are not equal failures, and they do not carry the same financial consequences. If the damage is limited to friction materials and hydraulic components, rebuilding may be entirely reasonable. But if hard metal parts are damaged, if planetary gears are scored, if pulley faces are worn, or metal contamination is circulating through the system, then rebuilding becomes far more complicated and far less predictable. Let's start with traditional automatic transmissions, because this is where rebuilding has historically made the most sense. Traditional automatics use planetary gear sets, multiple clutch packs, bands, hydraulic circuits, and a torque converter. These units have been rebuilt for decades, and parts availability is strong. If a transmission begins slipping because clutch friction material has worn down over time, a rebuild that replaces those clutches, seals, bushings, and the torque converter can restore the transmission to proper function. If caught early, before metal debris spreads everywhere, a rebuild can be cost-effective and reliable. A properly rebuilt traditional automatic can last another 100,000 miles if the hard parts remain intact and the work is done correctly. However, that word properly is where reality becomes more complicated. A rebuild is not a universal guarantee of longevity. The quality of the rebuilder matters tremendously. Rebuilding requires precise measurement, inspection of hard components, correct end-play adjustment, clean assembly conditions, and updated parts where applicable. If internal hard parts like planetary gear sets, hump housings, or the transmission case itself are damaged, simply replacing clutches is not enough. Metal fragments circulating in the fluid can scar valve bodies and solenoid bores, leading to pressure instability later on. In those situations, a rebuild becomes more labor-intensive and more expensive, and at some point, the cost approaches that of a remanufactured unit. When the rebuild cost climbs close to the price of a factory reman transmission that includes a longer warranty and standardized testing, replacement may actually be the smarter move. Now let's shift to CVTs, because this is where the rebuild versus replace decision becomes more sensitive and more financially risky. CVTs do not use fixed gear sets in the traditional sense. Instead, they rely on variable pulleys connected by a steel belt or chain, and those pulley surfaces must maintain precise friction characteristics to prevent slip. CVTs operate under extremely tight tolerances, and fluid condition is critical to their survival. If a CVT begins slipping due to belt wear or pulley scoring, the damage often spreads rapidly. Once metal debris circulates, the entire hydraulic control system can be affected, and the belt-to-pulley interface may no longer hold torque properly. Unlike traditional automatics, where friction components can be replaced somewhat predictably, CVTs often become economically impractical to rebuild once internal hard surfaces are damaged. That does not mean every CVT failure requires full replacement. If the problem is isolated to a torque converter clutch in a CVT that uses one, or if it's a valve body pressure issue with clean fluid and no belt slip codes, then targeted repair may still make sense. Early intervention matters enormously here. Fluid that is dark but not metallic suggests friction wear. Fluid that looks like metallic paint, filled with glittering particles, suggests structural damage. That distinction alone can determine whether you are looking at a repairable unit or a transmission that has crossed the threshold into full replacement territory. Heat is the silent factor that influences this decision more than most people realize. Heat breaks down transmission fluid. In traditional automatics, prolonged heat slowly degrades clutch friction material and seals. In CVTs, heat alters fluid viscosity and friction modifiers that are essential for belt grip. Once CVT fluid chemistry changes significantly, the belt may begin slipping even if mechanical components are not fully destroyed yet. And once slipping starts under load, heat builds even faster, accelerating damage. That is why CVTs can seem fine one week and suddenly deteriorate quickly the next. They are less forgiving once overheating begins. Labor cost also plays a significant role in deciding whether to rebuild or replace. Removing a transmission is labor-intensive. If removal alone costs a substantial amount and the rebuild requires additional labor plus parts, you must compare that to the installed price of a remanufactured unit. If the difference is small, the longer warranty and factory-controlled rebuild process of a reman transmission may reduce your financial risk. Rebuilding may save money up front, but if it fails prematurely and you must pay labor again, the savings disappear quickly. Warranty coverage shifts risk from you to the supplier. A local rebuild may carry a 1-year warranty. A factory remanufactured unit may carry 3 years or more, sometimes including nationwide coverage. A used transmission from a salvage yard may carry only a short-term warranty. That difference is not just paperwork. It determines who absorbs the risk if something goes wrong again. Vehicle value must also be part of the equation. If your vehicle is worth $6,000 and the transmission repair is $4,000, you need to consider the overall health of the vehicle. Is the engine strong? Is the suspension in good shape? Is there rust or electrical instability? Investing heavily in a declining vehicle may not be wise, but if the rest of the vehicle is solid and you intend to keep it long-term, rebuilding or replacing the transmission can restore usability and value. There is also a psychological factor involved in transmission repairs. Fear drives rushed decisions. The word CVT alone can cause panic because of its reputation online. But not all CVTs are doomed, and not all traditional automatics are safe bets either. The intelligent approach is to determine failure scope. Is the damage limited? Is it progressive? Is there heavy contamination? Is there hard part damage? These questions matter more than the symptom you feel while driving. Consider 2 vehicles experiencing shudder at highway speed. One is a traditional automatic with mild torque converter clutch wear and clean fluid. Rebuilding and replacing the converter may fully resolve the issue at a reasonable cost. The other is a CVT with belt slip codes and metal contamination. Replacing only the converter would not solve the underlying pulley damage. Same symptom, completely different outcome. Adaptive learning systems in modern transmissions add another layer of complexity. Both traditional automatics and CVTs adjust clutch pressures and lockup timing based on driving habits. If internal wear begins, the system may compensate temporarily by increasing pressure. The driver may notice nothing until the adaptive range is exhausted. When symptoms finally appear, they can seem sudden and severe, even though the wear has been gradual. Resetting adaptive memory may temporarily smooth minor shudders, but it does not reverse mechanical wear. So how do you decide intelligently? Start by identifying the transmission type. Determine whether the issue is friction wear or structural damage. Inspect the fluid condition carefully. Ask whether there are metal fragments present. Compare the total installed cost between rebuild and replacement, not just parts cost. Consider warranty coverage and long-term reliability. Evaluate overall vehicle condition. These factors together guide the decision far better than reacting emotionally to a symptom. Traditional automatics are often rebuild-friendly if caught early and if hard parts are intact. CVTs are less forgiving once belt or pulley damage begins and often lean toward replacement when contamination spreads. Heat, fluid breakdown, and failure progression determine viability more than anything else. Rebuilding can be smart when damage is contained, and the rebuilder is skilled. Replacement becomes smarter when contamination is widespread, structural parts are compromised, or cost differences are minimal relative to warranty benefits.